At least the temp's nice and steady underground. Out of Date's impressed you made it this far, but there's still so much left to do. The end of the world is still on everyone's minds. You've beaten a path where you have the power to destroy or save everyone. Question is, what you'll do with that responsibility. He worries about you. If you love yourself, you don't hurt others. But the more you hate yourself, the more you want others to suffer. Thinks it's important that you remember who you are and where you came from. Someone without knowledge of their history and origin is like a tree without roots. He promises he'll be there for you. Just come talk to him beneath the tree if you're feeling lost. Out of Date says there's a time for everything. And now there's no use thinking of the past, for it's gone. Think of the present, because that's where you are. It's time to set your priorities as the one who completes things. He's worried that you're putting the world at risk. But darkness isn't necessarily the end of the world. It's just another perspective. If the world really does end, there won't be anywhere to run. So he's prepared for the worst, something he calls the Ark. He hopes you're right. He gets that you mean the journey continues either way, but personally he wants the tree to survive. Out of Date says there's no clear record of the chain of events that changed the course of history and brought the world to its knees. He's found evidence on the Ark, records of a crisis, decades of contamination that permeated the ground and broke its inner core. The contamination disrupted what we now know as key energy, the life force that runs through all things, living and inanimate. He's been told the blight affected everything at a genetic level and turned our perception of normality on its head. It was only those that changed that avoided extinction, proving that the possibility for survival and renewal was real. He understands you are curious about the ship at the foot of the tree. He says it surfaced when the oil broke through the ground. The Ark predates the back-in days, and now, after years of study of the manuals he found inside, he believes he's figured the ship out. The Ark has room for 4 more, even if you think no one else is worth saving if the world comes to an end. He'll keep the seats open, and you are free to invite up to 4 others to join you in the Ark in the event of a cataclysm. Out of Date says the time has come for you to reconcile with your past. Lupa-Lupin is still staying in the camp where he was brought up. He hopes you'll find the answers you are looking for there. It's in your nature to hope for the best but prepare for the worst, but it's likely a meeting with the Lupin will end in confrontation. He'll point you in the right direction, but the rest is up to you. This part of the journey is one you'll have to do on your own. Lupa-Lupin's camp has always been there, hidden deep inside the mountains. Out of date hopes you'll find your way and the answers you were looking for once you're there. He knows he said it before, but the time has come to put an end to the Lupin's reign of terror. You should get over there. Come face to face with destiny. It's going to be you against the Lupin. No rules. He wonders what's on your mind. Says goodbye to you. You'd think this place would be crawling with worms. Lupa-lupin's camp has always been there, hidden deep inside the mountains. Tread carefully here. This is Lupa-lupin's camp. Lupa-lupin says he's been looking forward to this moment. He wanted you to come here and see for yourself where it all started. He was so little when your mother and kin came here to put an end to his mother just because she was different, a hunter. That night, the hunter became the hunted, trapped with nowhere to run. He says your mother showed no mercy, only vengeance. He can see that you're like your mother. You would have made the same decision and taken the same action she did. You're a killer too. They orphaned him, left him alone, an outcast and a freak. Lupa-lupin says he's been reliving the moment every night since then. He says your mother and her disciples started something that couldn't be undone. They created the monster he would become. He knew his time would come and he was patient. So, when he got news about your birth, he knew how to get revenge that would last. That's why he spared you that night he raised the village when you were a child. He wanted you to suffer for life, like he had. He marked you for life, so he'd recognize you when you met again, and you'd eventually remember where you came from. His hunger grew insatiable over the years to come. He tried, but being vegetarian wasn't in his nature and he couldn't go hungry. But he's never taken a life for the sake of appetite. It's always been about survival, and that our true self is being who we are. A deep look into nature will make you understand everything better, and that natural selection eliminates and the strongest survive. Fate is for those too weak to determine their own destiny, and now the time has come for you to accept yours. Everything is at stake. Out of Date says there'll be consequences of the war, but there are more pressing matters at hand. The last World Eater has been left undisturbed with the tree while you focused on the war. He guessed someone with your dark perspective and key would prioritize resolving the tribe war before facing the World Eaters. Regardless, Out of Date is grateful the tribe war is over. Out of Date understands the road has been rough, but you already know what's left to end this journey, and it'll be tough. You're the only one that's strong enough to face the last World Eater. The New World Order can only be achieved by someone with a dark perspective, even if that means letting the final World Eater attack the tree too. Only time will tell what the future holds, and if it will bring a lasting peace for those that make it to the end. Out of Date says the word about what you've done so far is spreading. The tribes haven't lost hope yet. He appreciates what you've done so far, but unfortunately, he's had urgent news from his friend Wiz in the northwest. He knows you're good-hearted enough to give Wiz the support he needs. He says he'll point you in the right direction, but finding Wiz and making sure he gets what he needs is up to you. That doesn't sound good. Out of Date's hunch is real. The Merc Puff is up next. Out of Date says that Wiz is worried now that the Northwest World Eater is stepping up its activity. He explains that Wiz is working on an undersurf vessel in order to get to the World Eater, but needs help to get it done. Out of Date suggests that you should head northwest as fast as possible and see what you can do to help. He's happy to help.